Hi. Hi, yeah. Yeah, come sit down. Yeah, I already got us a table. Place has been packed. I'm surprised I was able to get a reservation here. Never been here myself, but I've heard a lot of good things, so I figured it'd be appropriate. Have you ever been here before? Well, I've heard amazing stuff. So what exactly do you do for a living? Oh, it was on your Tinder profile? Yeah. Yeah, I read it. Uh, oh look, the waiter. Waiter. Waiter.
Are you two ready to order?
Yeah, I'll have the chicken parmesan, and the lovely, lovely person here will have the salad. Does that sound good to you? Good.
Very good choice, sir.
And about how long would that take?
About 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Alright.
Would you like me to fetch you drinks while you wait?
Yeah, we'll take some water. Do you want some water? Yeah.
I will bring your food as soon as it is ready.
Thank you. So, you watch any good TV lately? Doctor Who. Oh boy, I love Doctor Who. Oh, you only just got on after the newest season? It's a shame. As good as I like the season. It was alright. But older stuff, way better. No, I'm serious. The older, not like the '60s stuff. I've not really watched too much of it, and I have a soft spot for it. I have a lot of love for the classics, but I mean like the 2005 onwards. It's kind of the same show. I don't know what is like the way to section them off, but I have problems with the new season. My problems with it? Oh, okay. Where do I begin? Ruby is boring, and I hate that there's a boring main companion to the Doctor. Like she barely has a character to her. She's just vaguely a good person, which, like, obviously there are some people in the world who are just good people, but it's not really a character. She doesn't have any flaws that the story can really take care of. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. The first episode seems to imply that she might have some abandonment issues or something, which, could easily be something they explore in the Doctor Who episodes and stories, because traveling around in space with a mystery man seems like ripe opportunity for some great stories delving into abandonment issues, but they just don't. Like, God, there's a lot of episodes where they just don't play into it as much as they should. Ugh, don't even get me started on that. Examples. Well, like literally one of the first episodes, Space Babies. Why, in the culmination of it, in the culmination of the episode, does the Doctor save the giant snot monster? Like, his whole thing is being the last of his kind, and, he has issues with being the last Time Lord, possibly, or the only one in existence. Fuck the Timeless Child. Not getting into that. It was before this. But wouldn't it have made more sense for Ruby to get the epiphany to not abandon the creature? Maybe they could rework the story a bit to have it be, maybe the creature wasn't entirely made by the AI. Maybe it has something to do with the abandoned babies. Which, by the way, the whole allegory of the space babies is such a broken mess of an allegory, of it trying to be like about like mothers abandoning their children, except they really don't go into it that much, and the Doctor doesn't seem to have too much of a problem with it. He's more fascinated, and I have a lot of problems with that. But I think Ruby should have been the one to save the snot monster, to be like, hey, I was abandoned too, you shouldn't be abandoned. Something along those lines. But that's a smaller example. I think my biggest gripes, personally, come from the finale, Empire of Death. Good God, that finale. In a bad way. That, oh, it all culminates terribly. It has so many problems with the plot. Like, why the hell does Sutek wait so long to enact his plan? If they're implying that Sutek has been on the TARDIS this whole time since he clung onto it way back on the Pyramid of Mars episode, then why the hell is he waiting until now to do his plan? Like, they make it seem like he could have just popped up and done it any time, but he waited until right now and waited until the Doctor found Sue to trick him for no reason, to dramatically reveal himself. And then the resolution that Ruby's mother, that there was nothing special about her, which was the most deflating resolution ever. I get the message of it was supposed to be like, even normal people can be special, even if they aren't like special. But I just felt they could have delivered that in a better message instead of just setting her up to be some MacGuffin all season and then revealed at the last second, nope, nothing special about her. It's because Sutek thought she might have been special. And at first when I heard that, I thought, are they saying that Sutek like fell in love with her? No, he tricked himself, I guess. God, don't even get me started on the resolution of Ruby meeting her birth mother, because her surrogate mom in the show, I forget her name because she barely showed up when she easily could have shown up to have a lot more emotional connections with her. She treats her well. Her adopted mom treats her amazingly well, treats her like her own daughter and everything. And then Ruby has the gall to call her birth mom her real mom in front of her adopted mom. Like, what the fuck? Oh, I've had so many problems with the finale, like to the point where I've gone off online and talked about how I would change it, what I would do to fix the finale, make it more, substantial. Oh, you want to hear? Yeah, I could share. We still got a bit waiting for our food. Okay, so the changes would have to start. You gotta rewind the clock all the way back to the start of the season, when the Doctor first, dropped off and met Ruby and did everything with the goblins. Right away, you need to establish Ruby as having, actual abandonment issues. I have a bit of a problem with the fact that she's a super competent, powerhouse lady who can do whatever, because since we're starting from that point of her being so well put together with barely any flaws, there's nothing interesting to build off of with her. So I'd rather her be a bit of an emotional, not emotion. I don't want to sound misogynistic. I want her to feel realistically like she has abandonment trauma of some kind. Maybe we set up that after she was abandoned as a baby, she had gone through a few different foster families that never quite fit. But then this latest one, I feel bad. What is her name? The adopted mom. I'm gonna pull up my phone, check quick. Carla. I feel bad for Carla. Set up that Carla is the first one to really click with her. But since she's had so many foster families that just did not treat her well, she's got issues, and she wonders and fears that Carla's going to just abandon her someday. That's something that I'm going to utilize later on in this little rework of the season. How long until the food's ready? Jeez, another 10 minutes. All right, I'll try and make this quick. So, the idea would be, she's got abandonment issues, and when the Doctor travels back in time to get baby Ruby, the TARDIS can suddenly feel Sutek on it. Oh yeah, I'd also change it so that Sutek wasn't on the TARDIS the whole time. That makes no goddamn sense. So much has happened to the TARDIS since Pyramids of Mars and now that would not make any sense for Sutek to be there. Instead, we'll do the very logical thing and have it be Sutek clung on to the TARDIS through time bullshit, however you want to put it. I'm sorry for swearing in a restaurant, but I'm getting a little carried away. He climbed on after the toy maker like fucked with reality. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He gets on after the toy maker messed with reality. The TARDIS feels him on it herself. I'll call the TARDIS she. Why not? And then when it goes back in time, the Doctor deals with the goblins. The TARDIS needs to figure out how to deal with Sutek without like directly making it obvious that she knows Sutek is there. The TARDIS is alive, by the way. That's like something they don't delve on too much in this season, but the TARDIS is a living creature. So it's fully within concept of the show that the TARDIS would be able to plot out something like this. So while the Doctor's dealing with the goblins, the TARDIS decides it's going to use its perception filter, which they brought up in the season, so I don't need to go over it with you. It's going to use its perception filter on Ruby's mom as she's leaving the church to fuck with how reality sees her, so that Sutek sees her and thinks something is wrong. And I'm going to just spoil already, there would be my big reveal. The big reveal would be that the TARDIS did something to Ruby's mom so that no one could find her. So then you can have a big emotional blow-up later on in the series between Ruby and the Doctor, where Ruby blames the Doctor for, her mom being missing all her life. And then the Doctor's like, well, I didn't do it. The TARDIS did it and didn't tell me. And then Ruby can be like, whatever, your time machine did it without permission. You never thought how I would feel about it. You never worried about anything but yourself. And it can make the Doctor question if he is too selfish, which could lead him to destroy to the world and everything. But whatever. That's just setup. We can have the whole season go by. I wouldn't change too much of individual episodes. That would take too long to think about. Some things I would change is 73 Yards is such a mess of an episode, because I understand what the message it's trying to teach is, but the way it ends makes it so unclear about what actually happened. Make the episode end just so that you can have a clear message to the audience of what's going on. Instead of saying vague magic, fully imply or say directly that the perception filter messed with Ruby's head, and you can either explain it away as it was an alternate timeline, or since she was caught in the perception filter / magic, she was able to get caught in whatever thing the TARDIS did to her mom, whatever. Fully set up there that whatever's happening with Ruby's mom in the finale is with the perception filter. That way it's not just completely out of nowhere reveal like it is in the finale. Then the finale itself, make it obvious that Sutek can't leave the TARDIS himself. He can't escape the TARDIS by himself. All season, he's stuck on the TARDIS, and he's trying to figure out how to get off of it, and he's convinced it has something to do with Ruby's mom. So he coaxes the Doctor into opening the time window, because here's how you can even make it sense in canon, to a degree. You can say that Sutek himself can't exit the TARDIS physically, either while it's landed or in the time stream. If he does it while it's landed, the Doctor will, notice him immediately and do something about it. And he can't do it in the time stream because he'll get ripped apart. So he convinces the Doctor to open the time window back in time to the night that Ruby's mom was first messed with by the TARDIS, so that he can escape through the time window. And now you can have that whole dramatic climactic scene of the big wobbly thing on the TARDIS and the Sutek reveal. And it makes way more sense. It's not a case of Sutek waiting to make his dramatic reveal to the Doctor. He was waiting for a literal window of opportunity to escape. And then you can still have it play into the whole Susan thing, like throughout time and space, where, the Doctor keeps seeing her everywhere. It's because it's Sutek messing with the perception filter. Doesn't that make so much more sense? That would make so much more sense. You have it all tying back into itself way stronger. You would have the emotional blowout between the Doctor and Ruby over everything. The whole season could set up how the Doctor and Ruby are slowly growing closer together. I'd also like some episodes early on where Ruby should not have immediately become friends with the Doctor. She should have been really untrustworthy. She should have been really nervous. She should have feared that he was going to abandon her. Hell, that would strengthen. Back in Space Babies, when I talked about have the scene where Ruby doesn't abandon, where Ruby has to be the one to save the Snot Monster. Have it be because the Doctor's like, hang on, I gotta run, I gotta leave you here alone, and she's freaking out, you can't abandon me, and he's like, I have to, make up whatever reason you need to, and there she freaks out and starts to question if maybe the Doctor isn't trustworthy, and then she can also have her emotional epiphany of, maybe the Snot Monster shouldn't be left alone, maybe the Snot Monster isn't feral anymore, maybe it shows sympathy and it kind of appeals to Ruby's whole thing. Then you could have the Doctor be like, it's too dangerous to be around literal babies, and Ruby has to be like, I don't care, I'm saving it. You want that friction between the Doctor and the companion. You need that because it creates interesting stories. Think about Rose and the Doctor. Oh wait, no, you haven't watched that. Okay, I can't give too many specific examples because you haven't seen the 2005 series. A lot of the Doctor's past companions, the good ones at least, they didn't butt heads with the Doctor per se, but they definitely had that friction where they didn't agree on a lot of stuff, and it allowed for interesting situations. So have episodes slowly build up their development as a character duo of Ruby. Maybe around the time of 73 Yards, Ruby finally accepts and understands that the Doctor will never abandon her. Something like that. Especially after going through the emotional hell of 73 Yards. That would have been amazing for her. And then have the reveal be that the reason she has all these abandonment issues is because of the Doctor / the TARDIS with the perception filter on her mom. Boom. Obviously, you'd have to do like a lot of reworks in a bunch of other areas, like how he beats suit tech and everything. God, don't even get me started on the whole spoon thing in Empire of Death. There's a lot of specific details you'd have to work out to make it actually good, but the main basis there that I've laid out would work amazingly for the finale. I just don't get it. I don't get it why they didn't go with it. Sorry for ranting the whole time. No, wait, where are you going? No, wait, the food's gonna be here in just a few minutes. Come on, please. Please, we talk about something else. I can talk about Urban Yeti.